I've already cut the front short quarter off of this pork, and that would be the jowl, a hock, a picnic, and the Boston butt. And I've taken that off already, and I'll show you on the next half how that looks. And right now I am taking the leaf lard out of the inside. This would be like the gut cavity. I'm taking the leaf lard off of this, and we will start to break down the center section of this half. And so I'll get this leaf lard out of here and then show you how that goes. I'll tell you this, it got plenty cold last night.
Well, I set the bucket down to take care of my cow before we got ready to milk, and there was ice crystals in the bottom of my bucket. The frosted built in the bottom.
It was pretty heavy last night.
What do I have here, babe?
That is a shoulder roast.
Shoulder roast.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
I did forget something though, just hot water. If we need it, I guess I can run up to the house.
Yeah.
Alan's up there.
Thank you. You can see where this backbone kind of kinks up and goes over the tail end. Where that transitions from the backbone to the top of the tail end of the pig, that's where we're going to cut it, right there. And we're going to just cut it all the way across. Then we're going to take our meat saw and cut the bone, and it's always good practice that you cut bone with the saw and meat with the knife. And so try to avoid cutting the bone with the knife, of course, but also try to avoid cutting any more meat with the saw than you have to. There we go. All right, this gives us our center section or our loin section, and this gives us our rear section or our ham section. And so I'm going to start on the loin section, getting that broke down, and show you how that goes. All right, right here you can see the loin eye. That's the pork chop, the loin eye. So we come down here right about there where this this rib bone starts to go down. We're going to start right there. I'm going to put a mark. And then I do the same thing back here. You can see that that's almost the sirloin right there where I cut it, but that's the loin eye. I'm going to come right here at the base of this and put a mark, and then I'm going to connect the two. Cut all the way down. Right here it'll go all the way through. That's in the belly part of it, and it'll go all the way through till I come to the rib right here. And then I'll go through the ribs. This part right here, from about there up, is the pork belly, or the fresh side. It's where your bacon comes from. So we're going to try to separate it from the ribs here. There we go.
Or not hit it, but that thing's still.
Oh, that's still in the picture. Yeah. That is your pork belly. Let's see if I can get better. That's your pork belly. The bacon's made out of that, and this will get cut in, trimmed up, and made into pieces for fresh side. And then you can put that on your smoker, or you can just slice it and fry it, or however you want to use it. But that is pork belly. Yeah, you can just clean that up. And
How big? Thirds? Half?
Thinking half on that one.
What do I have here?
That's more of that
Shoulder roast.
shoulder roast. Yeah. I cut it in small pieces. There were probably 3 of them, maybe.
This one.
Yeah.
I thought it was, but I wanted to make sure.
Okay, I'm going to take these ribs off, these spare ribs right here. I'm going to take them off, and that'll make spare ribs. So let's cut it right right there.
Broken tooth in that saw or something?
Can't find it anymore.
Probably just
Or is
getting,
it just gummed up?
It might have been just gummed up.
we're getting gold. That's what
Dull.
it's had the same blade for a while.
I think part of it was I wasn't pushing real hard because it felt like I was moving the whole thing.
I was trying to hold it, but I
Right.
don't think I was doing a very good job.
I'm gonna turn your display over so you can
Okay. All right. Now I've got the loin section. There's a couple of things that could be done. You can cut pork chops out of this. Makes really good pork chops. And without good meat bandsaw to set this on a table and cut those chops, pretty much your chops are going to be the distance, the thickness of your rib bone. If you want to make them bone in. I like to make my chops boneless. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, I think that's the equipment I've got. It works better that way. Another one is when you make boneless chops instead of bone-in chops, you get two more things out of this cut. You get boneless pork chops, which are really nice. And then you get a tenderloin, which we're going to take out instead of it being the bottom half of some of those pork chops. You're going to get that. And this rib bone right here, instead of it being the bottom bone of a bone-in pork chop, it'll be baby back ribs. And so those are two different cuts you get if you make boneless pork chops. So that's part of the reason we make boneless pork chops. Oh, you know what I should have done first? Take the tenderloin out first. Just cut down along the inside of that chine bone. That backbone right there, and you'll feel the ribs bend, and you just curve with them. Just cut right against all of that.
I'll be cutting.
All right, and there's our pork tenderloin. Now we can go back to removing this bones off of this loin. All right, I'm gonna take this loin and I'm gonna trim it up a little bit, and then I'm gonna cut boneless chops out of it.
I don't think it's much cleaner here.
No, but I think we'll cut it in half this way so that it makes it easier for her to wrap if she stacks
Okay.
one side the other.
Some big pieces on the last couple were a little tough to.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna cut where that sirloin bone and stuff was right there. I'm gonna cut some of that off. See, that is a, I learned this a while back. That's called the butcher's cut. That is kind of an end piece. It doesn't look real pretty on one side, thicker and thinner. But we'll typically, a lot of times that will get turned into part of our sausage. But that's how sometimes you have to start that with that on some of these cuts, because you've got a kind of a rough end.
It's pretty thick.
Is that better?
I think you need to come to me a little bit.
You want them that thin? That better?
No. Yeah, that's fine.
And there's your boneless chop. I've left the cap on that. And this has got enough fat. I may come in here and cut some of that, trim some of that fat off of these. How's that?
That looks good. Those big old thick ones are hard to cook.
All right, there's our boneless chop. That's a pretty chop. We made the boneless chops, and now we're going to take this, the backbone and the pieces of ribs that were left, and we're going to make baby back ribs. And basically, we will just try to cut them off right next to the backbone or the chine bones, and that will make baby back ribs. Thank you, Ed. And there's your baby back ribs.